Alright everyone, it's time for another happy milestone, which is that we're now at 4,000 subscribers on LBRY. I'll put a link in the description, and there will also be a pinned comment for those of you following on YouTube. You should get an account there and join me. You should be joining me on multiple alt-tech sites. I've been branching out since the 2016 election because I saw the writing on the wall and realized that tech censorship was going to happen because all of these different politically motivated groups would want to destroy the creative abilities of people that disagree with them politically. Religious groups will do the same, inevitably. Nations will do the same. Statehood, non-state actors as well, activist groups, lobbies. All of these different groups want those that disagree with them or compete with them silenced. So you've got them flinging shit around. The problem is that it'll take years before what ends up eventually, I believe, inevitably happening, which is that there's a crackdown on censorship, either through a civil sort of paradigm shift socially, something that's more voluntary and private, or something that involves state actors. One of those two, I believe, happens, eventually saves us the trouble, but until then, if you're a video creator, your goal is to create videos. Well, it doesn't matter if you've been wiped off the face of the internet. It doesn't matter if 2 or 3 years from now censorship goes away and you're welcome back. You've potentially lost your entire audience. I didn't want that to happen. So I want Clankdom to colonize new platforms. And I'm branching out as viciously as possible. Yes, I want to be a cutthroat. Yes, I want to be the best on these platforms. I think it's a wonderful idea. I think that there's something socially and politically to be added to the world by the idea of the promulgation of liberty, consistent opposition of censorship, making people informed about news in a way that they're not getting from the corporate media, certainly. I think that it's important to do. LBRY offers a fairly good user experience. I do have my qualms with the platform, as I do with literally every other alt-tech platform I use. For instance, BitChute, its search feature, is lackluster. On LBRY, there is definitely it's sort of like a Steemit sort of thing. There's definitely a higher threshold to getting in on it because of the fact that a lot of people's eyes glaze over when they see cryptocurrency, blockchain, here's your encrypted hash, and stuff like that. They don't know how to use it. It could be a little bit less cluttered. It could be a little bit more user-friendly. But that being said, any site that offers the ability to amass that kind of audience, and I've been actually featured in one of their emails now as well that they put out, alongside people like Pacman and Pool, who have larger presences certainly already on the platform. Some people have tens of thousands of people following them on LBRY. In order to have a site that has that kind of audience potential, it usually means viability. The two things go together. There are exceptions. VidMe is an exception. Of course, that was one of the first technically alt-tech platforms I branched out into. Then, of course, they decided to fuck off, shy away from the political fight. They started abusing the creators that were fleeing there, actually, and then they collapsed as a site because they abused their user base. Whoops! I think that was a bad idea. But sites like BitChute and LBRY and Minds aren't doing that. Sites like Brighteon, they're not abusing their users. There are still rules on these sites to a greater or lesser degree. Like LBRY allows, full-on XXX content, so it's considerably uncensored. I don't think there's much in the way of rules as far as that goes. So keep that in mind. Some of you don't want to see obscene content. I don't know if there's a filter or anything you can use on site. But it's the standard sort of like blockchain crypto thing that's been going on, decentralized networking, and it's stable. It loads videos well, and the search function's reasonable. Again, it needs maybe a design overhaul, but the problem with that, and I'll say this in all honesty, the problem with that is you can go MySpace mode. Your user base is used to the design and just doesn't want it to change at all. Hell, YouTube had problems with this early on. There were people that left the site when it switched over to Cosmic Panda. Not without good reason at the time, by the way, I might add, which is why YouTube rushed out their new design, which now is used today. I think LBRY is a good site. Again, with me, when I'm analyzing sites as well, I will say this one thing. I analyze them from the perspective of a person who mainly makes content, not a person who mainly absorbs content. The only real content I absorb at this point, in many cases, is literally YouTube as a jukebox, basically for music, not really for videos quite so much. I've got certain people that I follow, and I follow them on various platforms. I subscribe to them, in some cases, on 3 or 4 at the same time. I follow some of these people on LBRY and on BitChute as well as on YouTube. but I'm primarily a creator, not an absorber of content. So that user experience is a little bit different. It'd be interesting to see what people think about LBRY as well from that perspective, because a lot of you don't make videos, and you're there to watch them. So you should join me there. It's another good alt tech experience. At this point, I'm casting the net as widely as possible. I want to become large on as many platforms as possible to continue promulgating liberty and anti-censorship, and to keep people informed. The only goal that I have is to make my content. If a site makes me feel like I might eventually be unwelcome doing that, as YouTube at this point has by alienating a lot of the users that I subscribe to and purging them by constantly changing its rules, I'm going to see if there are alternatives. There are. LBRY is a viable video hosting platform. BitChute is a viable video hosting platform. Mine's increasingly as well. Brighteon is a viable platform. Dailymotion's viable. To a slightly lesser degree, perhaps, and it's certainly not alt tech. Keep in mind there's still blasphemy laws in France, if I remember correctly, so keep the anti-religious videos away. But yeah, it's a good site, and again, for those of you on YouTube, there will be a pinned comment with the link in the description as well. That's about all. Peace out.